Okay, welcome back. Moving on in the program now, we're on the home stretch, and we have our lawyer friend Kabir Akingbolu. Thank you very much for coming on.
It's a pleasure for me.
Indeed. Just because we're in the season, just looking at it, and for instance, now let's switch to the ruling party, APC. Of course, all the parties are in the throes of deciding who their aspirant shall be, the party primaries. APC, I read on one paper, which very much summarizes what I wanted to talk about. APC said to disqualify aspirants over resignation. That is taken out of the front page of the Daily Sun that I have in front of me, but it's an idea that we've already heard about. For instance, I think I was reading that the Minister of Labor, Ngige, Dr. Ngige, has said that he doesn't know what people are talking about, that he's not going to be resigning. He's not required to resign. Well, when he says he's not, meanwhile, his party is saying that, look, everybody, time is running out. If you don't resign by yourself, we will disqualify you. Yeah. What does all of this say to you?
No, if you ask me, and I will tell you that. First of all, it's not only Ngige that's refused to resign. Malami has refused to resign. Amaechi has refused to resign. A whole lot of them have refused to resign, and again, it's understandable. As it is today, Section 8412 is not part of our laws, whether anybody likes it or not. Whatever circumstances that surrounded or that are surrounding the obtaining of the judgment of the court from Abia or Anambra now, that particular judgment stands until that judgment is set aside on appeal. And the
judgment was
is there.
Status quo.
Yes, status quo. You understand?
Just keep everything the way it was before the president signed.
There is no, exactly. So because the judgment has struck out that section of the law and says it's not part of our laws. So until it is appealed again, although I understand National Assembly has appealed the judgment, in another way they are also wrong. It's not their law. At the point when the matter was a bill, when the law was a bill, it is their bill. But once it becomes law, it becomes the law of Nigeria. And the proper person to sue is the Attorney General of the Federation on behalf of the government of Nigeria. So for them going on to court, what is the special thing? They don't have any particular interest. Your own is to make the law. You understand? And the judiciary is to interpret, and the judiciary has interpreted and said this law was wrongly made. It's not supposed to be a law. And that is it. So anybody who is saying I'm not going to resign has a reasonable ground and solid one. They are on a firmer terrain, a very solid terrain, not to resign. However, if the judgment now goes on appeal as it has gone, and the Court of Appeal is now saying, okay, the lower court was wrong, and for this reason, the Section 8412 stands, it will still not change anything, because as at the time they didn't resign, the law was not in existence. So, but if the Court of Appeal affirms it, from that moment, anybody who fails to resign will be on its own. In Zamfara State, the other time, during the build up to the 2019 election, a lot of orders were made that, okay, a particular set of people should be the candidate of the party, and they went to court. The High Court, expectedly, ruled in favor of Biari then, who was the governor. They went to Court of Appeal. The same thing happened. But at the Supreme Court, they told it. So on the basis of that, they sent name to INEC with the order of court. And that one accepted it. Even though a High Court has earlier said no. So this is the situation. Until it is set aside, it's not part of our law. And it cannot be used to disqualify anybody for now. Because the court says this law was wrongly made. So, it had been struck down.
So it is your considered opinion that should the ruling APC go ahead and make good its threat, that whoever feels injured would have a very good ground.
If they make good their threat, any person that is affected, if the person goes to court, is going to win them, because it is very clear. The law say this is it, and the court of law said this is not a law. So are you individual? It will now be the rule of whims against rule of law, because the party will now be singing a different tune from the tune of the law. This is just the problem, the issue.
And sort of the test date is what? this weekend.
Yes.
This is when.
Yes, exactly. And don't forget, people like in PDP, you know, like earlier, people were saying it affects only, they thought it affects only APC. It's not so. It affects only APC in terms of federal thing. But on states, there are some states controlled by PDP. Don't forget, about 2 months ago, about 30-something cabinet members of the governor of Ogun State resigned.
Yeah, exactly.
Based on that law. And in Zamfara State, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, about 11 of they resigned.
That's what makes it a bit more confusing.
You understand? Because
governors are, state governments are seemingly complying, but at the federal, the big boys, so to speak, are saying no.
The big boy, that's the word. They believe that we hold the 4 A's. Nothing can happen. That is just it.
And this is a problem because, first of all, the fields are unwieldy.
Exactly.
If you look at it, PDP is going through its own efforts to bring it down to a more manageable level, not with unmitigated success. When you look at it, because there are still disagreements. The same thing within the APC, and that all these guys are actually the guys who don't want to resign, who are saying that they're depending on the law. Clearly, they have the 100 million required. So that's another. This is the issue. That's another issue right there.
The question we should be asking: how can a public officer? How did he get that money? Because like you are staking the money. How many of them can stake it a few years ago when they are not in public office? These are the questions Nigerians will be asking and wants an answer. But then we wish them well. But that amount is too much. And don't forget, this is a party that passed a law not too young to rule. How will a young graduate who is qualified to contest for the president of Nigeria be able to raise 100 million naira?
Mazi Okorafor, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess, in the studio.
Yeah,
you see, what is happening this time around, I don't know what our judiciary are waiting, because this issue of elongation of cases is a problem. And even the court of appeal has just given judgment before this today. All this, but the question now is this: the Minister for Labor and Minister for Education, university lecturers are on strike. The labor are the people that are supposed to settle the university lecturers, and the labor man is contesting, is fighting for his right, at least, to go and contest. And the education man just stepped in. Now, tell me, what time would they get to come back and sit down and discuss Nigerian problem, which is the first cardinal thing? Now, even though if they enter there as a president, is that how they are going to run the Ministry of Education and the rest? Is that how they're going to be? Because there are 3 things in any place: security, education, and health. And one of these cardinal things are these 2 people are the 2 cardinal points in there, and they are fighting to come and contest. Look, that is why I used to tell Nigeria, look, we don't go to the market because we go to the market. Before you go to the market, you have something in mind. But maybe something just plays up there. That is what the 2 ministers are doing. Because I was expecting them to settle Nigerian problem, which 80% of Nigerians at home. Before they talk about presidential race, honestly speaking, I'm totally disappointed what the 2 ministers are doing. I try to call them to let them go back home. Settle the basics before going to talk of presidency. Presidency is not for it's not a child play. It's not going to market to buy akara or gagare or to buy granite and start taking. No. We have to face this. God, do the needful. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mazi. You were nodding in agreement to some of those
that's the truth. Because you see, let me tell you, even apart from now, it's only that the momentum, increased. In the last 6 months, all the leaders in Nigeria, both at the state level, at the federal level, have abandoned the act of governance for 2023, making all sorts of political permutation, calculations, giving and taking and all that. So people are suffering. These are the
governance is suffering.
Governance is suffering, and it's taking a toll on the people. You have the economy is in comatose, the security is in disarray, the political disease is unstable, and here we are. We are almost confused. But we are living because God is with us.
Yeah, well, indeed. Well, you brought a religious perspective into
we have
it.
to.
Well, APC set to disqualify aspirants over resignation is what the party is saying. The people concerned are saying,
no.
We're waiting for you.
Yeah, exactly.
We're waiting for you. Just try it.
Just try it.
Just
see
try
what
it.
we'll do.
Because we have the law on us.
Exactly.
As you explained,
This is the truth. That's the truth.
They seem to be on good ground.
On good ground. They are.
By the law.
By the law.
Which has been called sometimes an uncomplimentary name.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, I know.
You get what I mean.
Exactly.
Well, I think we're going to have to leave it there. It's a point that we thought we should air a bit. The whole matter about what is going through the minds of those who are saying that even though you are my party, even though I'm loyal to you, I'm sorry, if you pull that particular stunt, we shall be waiting for you.
Exactly.
So I'm going to fight back.
That's exactly what they are trying to say by the body language.
Thank you very much, Kabir. Mr.
You,
Kabir Akingbolu, legal practitioner and commentator on public affairs. Well, that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.